We've got this one from the Post-Millennial. Judge dismisses riot charges against 140 illegal immigrants accused of rushing the border in El Paso. Quote, I don't believe there is probable cause for these individuals to continue to be detained for the offense of riot participation, which basically means they're being released as well. On Monday, a judge in El Paso, Texas, dismissed the cases of 140 illegal immigrants charged in connection with a border riot that took place when the illegal immigrants stormed Border Patrol agents at the U.S.-Mexico border. All 140 still face federal charges stemming from their illegal entry into the country, though most illegal immigrants are given a court date some years into the future and released into the domestic U.S. The Biden administration often offers free flights for these individuals to cities and states across the country. Now, I suppose the argument is, how do you know this particular individual rioted? And that's the argument that's what happened in D.C. In 2017, when the far left rioted during Trump's inauguration. They asked the police, how do you know that individual right there was part of that group? And they were like, well, we arrested him in the group. And they're like, but you don't know what they did. It must be just a humble man wearing a black hoodie and a mask and black jeans. And it was a coincidence they were there. So the police tried getting them on, and the DA tried going after them for conspiracy. And the courts ultimately ruled you can't charge an individual for the actions of an amorphous mass. And that's basically what's happening here. Because the illegal immigrants invaded the country by force, attacking National Guard, a single illegal immigrant can't be charged for it. So they're allowed into the country. They will be released, and their charges will be dropped.
Tim, can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Were any of them cannibals by chance? Just out of curiosity.
We don't know, but I would assume
not that
no.
you could charge them for that, but it's just a curiosity. Just saying.
Well, we don't even charge them for entering the country illegally, let alone rioting at the border. We wouldn't charge them for anything because this is how the Biden administration handles illegal immigration into this country, despite the fact that it costs the average American worker tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, it's such a slap in the face to the average American to see this come up.
You're right, not just the workers, but you look at the crime that they end up causing.
Right.
You look at lives that are taken unnecessarily because people who were told not to enter here and disrespected our country's laws every step along the way are allowed to stay.
So was there any video at all? Because it looked like they videoed everything.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be admissible? It's like, hey, these guys really were,
They were wearing masks.
I don't know. Were they masked during that?
Many of the people who attacked the guards were wearing masks.
Wow.
And so the argument then becomes, well, how do you know that was him?
Yeah, wow.
And so, of course, non-citizens have due process rights under the Constitution, same as everybody else. So you can't charge them with attacking the National Guard and illegally invading the country. I love this quasi warfare reality that we're currently in, where Ukraine is not the U.S. versus Russia because the Americans that are fighting there are fighting there privately of their own volition. And U.S. troops aren't actually fighting. They're just providing intel. So we are not at war. And then you have citizens of a foreign nation attacking our National Guard at the border, but as individuals. So there is no...
There's no invasion. Don't worry.
Yeah, just millions of people pouring through the border.
It hasn't been formally declared. January 6th was an insurrection, right? But this is not an invasion.
No, they're just coming to shop at Walmart. That's all. They're just coming. They're Walmart shoppers who are masked because they don't want to get any sort of infections.
Well, you know, the reality is they are. One of the interviews during the migrant caravan a few years ago, the LA Times asked one of the migrants in the caravan why they were coming, and he says, "I miss Buffalo Wild Wings." They want it, and I was just like, "There's Buffalo Wild Wings in Mexico City." Sounds like he's seeking
asylum to me.
Yeah.
That guy really needs our help.
They got beat-ups in Mexico City. I went there. It was great.
It's cruel and unusual to not allow them to go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
You're right.
Or Mission Barbecue.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
And that Mission Barbecue is also good.
We can sit around and make all
Mission
these
Barbecue.
jokes. This, for 5 minutes.
The world's burning down.
And we all know that there's not going to be anything done with the border with the current administration.
No.
And if they get reelected, if the administration gets reelected, nothing will be done. And the American people generally agree, right? Like Americans broadly are like, if you have people coming to the country illegally, we should stop them. We should say you can't come in. Like, that's
Especially
not
in these record
logical in
numbers.
their
We're like,
argument.
300,000 in 1 month? We ended up breaking our previous record of 200,000 in a
like
month?
10 million in the past 4 years or something like that.
It's complete insanity.
I mean, I don't know for
they
sure.
say
but
something like 7 million, but you
even
know it's not
still,
that.
it's outrageous.
Yes.
Yeah.
7
That is-
million is the compromise number, and
The
it's not good.
Yeah, the idea that is not an outrageous number that the government just sits there and says, well, I mean, it's what happened and it's not our fault, even though they got into office and repealed all of got rid of all the executive orders that the previous administration had, just because it was the previous administration and not Donald Trump was enough reason. It is absurd, ridiculous. The entire government is clown world. It's exhausting.
Well, I want to hit that because I actually talked to a DHS official today on the drive out here to wherever we're at. Just saying. So during this conversation with him, he said that there are members of DHS who recognize what we're saying to be absolutely correct and factual, that this is a clown show. Yeah. But they're being held back by those appointees who were appointed by this administration. So I as a former guy who was, a sworn civilian and military officer, there are people like me who want to do our jobs. The problem is the politicians, the people who are appointed above them. And that's why you see this. And until something is done to remove them from their ability to influence the permanent bureaucracy, you're going to see this. And by the way, Tim, we all know it's like New York is fed up with this. I talk to folks up there all the time. They can't ride the subway. So I think it's a matter of time before their own side, your former side, I guess, really gets upset and says enough's enough. But it's going to take something to say, we got to do something about it.
I do think regular people are starting to snap.
They should.
Scott Pressler mentioned this the other night. Unregistered voters are leaning towards Trump. Mm-hmm. So the Democrats are putting out these messages being like, stop registering voters. They're more likely to be Trump supporters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, one of the issues that Trump campaigned on most successfully the last time he ran, or I should say the first time he ran when he actually won, was the border issue.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And they've done everything within their power to make it worse.
And since then, since 2020, they're saying we've let in the population of New York to the country.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not even an accurate number. We all know that. It's closer to 10 million.
It's way
probably
more.
Higher.
So I live in a very rural county in North Carolina. The whole county is 14,500 people. That's the whole county. And it's very poor. And I'm on the Social Services Committee. I'm running for county commissioner, just saying if anybody wants to vote for me in the county. But in the county, the minorities there feel that they are being deprived of resources they should otherwise get because they see, like us, all these resources going to the illegal aliens. I mean, when you're talking about people who could barely pay for their heating bill, that they have to have special programs, and they see people coming here and getting, $2,000 a month for their family.
Right.
They're fed up.
Open borders.
And this is the left's board. I mean, they're Democrats.
Right. And open border is an elitist position because the people who are most adversely affected are typically people who live on or below the poverty line.
And they devalue the value of labor. That's why I can't believe that the left is not upset. The unions aren't upset because the more illegal aliens you come in, the more you devalue a unit of labor in any market.
Yeah.
And it's like, where is anybody who actually understands what this does in a way of damage to the?
But how much of it is just headline chasing, right? Well, they want to be the party that's like, we were the most welcoming.
Exactly. Well, and you're right. It's completely backwards. These people come into our country without any identification to work for wages that Americans won't accept. And the unions go, they have a right to work. It's like they won't let an American citizen. They try to push for these laws that make it impossible for an American citizen to be able to work without a union in certain sectors, and then they're willing to allow people to just flood the country and take whatever job they want without any kind of registration, totally off the grid, no social security number.
It's not any job. Nancy Pelosi said if they don't come, they won't pick our crops, remember? Mm-hmm. So,
it was it Kelly Osbourne?
Who's going to be cleaning your toilets, Donald Trump?
That's right.
Yeah. But there's a lot of dignity in that statement.
So much respect.
But no, it shows you how they see them. It shows you how they see them. They're pawns, ultimately.
And they're here. I remember having this conversation when I was in high school, someone saying, well, they're just jobs the American workers wouldn't do.
That's not
true.
true.
I don't think
that's true.
They wouldn't do it for that wage.
Yeah.
Right. And also, at times, there are times that it inhibits technological innovation, right? Like if you think about agricultural workers, labor that you could, sell out cheaply to people who are not here illegally, who you don't have to hold to, safe working standards. Technically, you could potentially have other innovations come in and solve this. But instead, you're perpetuating these terrible systems.
Right. We talked about that new Atlas robot from Boston Dynamics. Have you seen this video?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
It's this like creepy humanoid thing that like spreads its legs and like stands up and then its body spins around and it walks towards you or whatever. And the joke I made was watching these like androids they're building. Well, I can't wait to fight one of these robots while my friends are scavenging for food in an abandoned gas station, and I'm trying to buy them time, and then we all escape into the sewers and flee. But thinking about it now, what's really going to happen is if one of these robots costs $50,000, then these companies are going to be thinking a single Android for 50 grand is going to operate for 5 years.
Yep.
So that's $10,000 a year. That's way cheaper than any human. And what's actually going to happen is there's going to be neo-Luddites who are running up in the middle of the night with masks on and smashing these robots and destroying them.
Sabotage. Sabots.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I think it's absolutely true. When we examine this through an economic framework, it's easy and I would say accurate and worthwhile to point out the fact that these people are driving the cost of labor down. But it's a lot more insidious. This narrative that the left has pushed on immigration for the last several decades, that these are just people who want to come here and do jobs that we won't do. Like, again, not only for reasons that we've pointed out is that not true, but it's just not the case anymore. More than half of the people who pour over the border are not from Mexico.
Right.
We have no idea where these people are from. We have no idea what they want to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of human trafficking going on. Like this is not even about somebody adjusting market equilibrium with respect to wages for labor. This is about trafficking. This is about human trafficking. This is about people from nations that are hostile to our interests at a time where there is intense turmoil on the global stage just entering into our country. We have no idea what they're doing.
But Seamus, that's how we'll solve our birth rate problem.
Yeah.
That's what makes me crazy.
Exactly.
It's so open, like population replacement.
100%.
And again, all of the Americans who are trying to keep the system together pay for this. I mean,
It's disgusting.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's disgusting and it's evil.
What was the name of that robot again, Tim?
Atlas.
So do you think, would you all join me in doing a petition to require that they bring Atlas robots in to replace the entire cast of The View? I think that would be, and that would last for 10 years. It's a cost cutting, and they can't be any less.
It'd be great, actually, because
I think it'd be fun.
It would just be Chat GPT pretending to talk to itself.
Yeah, that was.
I think that makes it too strong.
Yeah.
But
I don't trust
it would be
ChatGPT.
comparably the same show because GPT's training ends in 2021, so they would be equally as ill-informed.
Oh, man.
Got him.
True. That's true.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.